champions,
Willie, your mic's off.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Full 40.
Rusty much? Jesus.
Rusty much? Yeah, Jesus. It also usually starts with the mic off or with the mic turned on, so I don't know what happened there. Anyways, everybody, welcome back to the Full 40. Willie here alongside none other than Chris Bellotti. Chris is back on the pod today. How we doing, bud?
Doing good. Feeling a little bloated from the holiday season. Happy the kids are back in school. But it was easy to get through the holiday break with a team that doesn't stop winning games. So
honestly, we'll talk about the games. The first thing I want to talk about is your shirt. I talked about this pre-game or pre-pod. We got the Pope shirt. I got to know, man. Christmas gift? What was that?
Yeah, Secret Santa gift. Shout out to my buddy Rob, who managed to get 3 really good, funny gifts. 2 Villanova Pope related. One is a very weird reference about the Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan, as many people know. We had a relief pitcher a very long time ago, not very long, I guess 6-7 years ago, who I absolutely hated his guts, named Boone Logan.
Oh, okay.
And he sent me a Boone Logan signed card, which is I still have it, which I'm surprised I haven't thrown it out yet. But I was like, how much did that cost you? It was like, it cost like $5 on eBay.
I was like, I can't imagine there's a big bidding war for Boone Logan.
Oh my God. The guy was awful.
Well, glad to have you back. Love the Pope shirt, as mentioned, but let's talk about our Cats. I tweeted this after, I think, the Butler game. I mean, sources say there's a basketball team on the main line. Like, that's just, we have a team. And I know there's been we've been generally the team's been pretty decent all season, but the beginning of Big East play, I believe, was just kind of we could have lost to Seton Hall and beaten the other 2 and would have been fine, probably still be a tournament team. But winning all 3 games that we've had between Seton Hall, Butler, and DePaul, which we can talk about the DePaul game and how that started. But that has put us in a position to potentially be not even potentially, at this stage, we're the second best team in the Big East. As of right now, we are number 2 in the Big East. There is a gulf between us and UConn. I'm not even going to begin to say that we're close to them, but we are the second best team in the Big East. And I don't think any one of us had that on our bingo card from preseason expectations. I think when we talked in the preseason and everybody that I'd spoken to, it was we didn't know what to expect with this team. It was barring Tyler Perkins and Wayne Chittick, a net new roster and Matt Hodge. But Matt Hodge had never played for us before. So it's a net new roster, net new coach. We did not know what to expect. We knew that Kevin Willard would be a better coach than Kyle Neptune. We expected that because he's shown that to be a better coach. But the way the pieces have fit, the way that everything's kind of working for us right now is, it's higher than my expectations. I thought we should be a tournament team, but could not put that expectation on them. I'm comfortable saying right now, if we don't make the tournament the rest of the season, it's a disappointment because of how good we've seen that this team should be. I'm not saying we're going to be Chris disappeared, so this is just going to be me now. I'm not saying that we're going to be a top 4 seed or anything along those lines, but this team has shown the ability to be something more than what we thought they were going to be. We've been looking at, as of right now, I've seen us as high as the 6 line. There's potential to get to the 5. We beat UConn. Who knows where we end up getting there, going from there. So this is a really, really huge opportunity for this team as we get into the rest of the season. And that's what, whenever Chris gets back on, we're going to start talking about, is taking a look at all right, well, then what should our expectations for this team be as we think about the rest of the year? We've had opportunities where we kind of missed, we've missed the ball, or we've missed the mark. We missed the chance versus BYU to get a really marquee win. We don't have a top 25 win on the resume right now. We've missed the opportunity versus Michigan, and obviously, I don't know if it's an opportunity versus Michigan. We kind of got absolutely railroaded by them. But the opportunities for us are presenting themselves. And the start to Big East play is very, very, very just positive for us all. As we think about the schedule, and I'm just going to kind of talk about what we've done retroactively as I wait for Chris to hop on, because Chris had some stuff that he wanted to say. Just to give you all the background. So last time we spoke, we were talked before the Wisconsin game. It's been a bit. Happy holidays, everybody. We had the Seton Hall game. So Seton Hall, we beat pretty handedly on the road. That game will probably end up staying a quad one game. Seton Hall realistically might be the third best team in the Big East, looking at depending what happens with St. John's and everything along those lines. So we had a strong game versus Seton Hall. Just so you guys know what's going on here, Chris has texted me. I have no idea what's happening. So this is always a great start to the podcast. But Seton Hall, we started off with a really strong 64-56 win. Then we got into DePaul. So DePaul, we ended up winning by 5. We saw how bad the DePaul game started, but this has been a thing that we've talked about in a group chat from the podcast, and I think we've seen a lot of people talk about this. This team finishes halves very strong and starts the second half tends to be very, very strong. So DePaul, we kind of just walk our way through it. We slept our way through DePaul, and then we ended up winning, kind of pulling away, and then DePaul came back. I'm seeing Chris is in here, getting ready to get pulled in. Let's see if he's ready.
I'm on my phone. I don't know if you can hear me. Is it okay?
I can hear you right now.
I have no freaking clue what the hell just happened. My Wi-Fi in my house just totally evaporated.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. But if you can hear me and I'm good, I'm going to keep going.
We'll fix this in post. But yeah, so what I just started vamping because I was like, all right, well, I was about to dish it to you. But just kind of talking through how we started between Seton Hall, DePaul, and Butler. Got through DePaul, but I want to stop and we can talk deeper about that, but give you the floor to kind of talk about generally, how have you felt this team has been? What's been your feelings on this team from the first 14 games of the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting because you kind of go on the calendar at the beginning of the year and you're looking at it and you're just I don't exactly know where this team's going to go. I think some people just going back, Willard got hired. I was happy with that hire. That's well documented. I thought the portal went probably worse than he hoped it would, at least on paper.
Yep.
I do know that we have had years recently where the portal went better than we thought it would on paper, and it didn't pan out to a great team. And then this year, it felt like it went a little bit. It felt like we had a lot of wind at our sails with the Willard hire. Obviously, there was a lot of consternation on the Maryland departure, but it felt like it was sticky in terms of the portal cycle. But people were very excited about. We knew people were going to be excited about Caden Lewis, and all of that. So I was in a very much let's see how this team does. I didn't really expect a tournament team in year one. In full transparency, I just expected a team that seemed like it got better. He intentionally went after a couple swings and misses early on the portal cycle. He went younger and said, let's build a program. And that might have been a blessing in disguise because it seems like he's actually developing a program, not just a team this year. Now, some of that is personalities that he's got, right? Everyone talked in the preseason about how we're going to rebound the basketball. Well, we got one of the best rebounders in the conference.
Yeah.
And I think one of the better offensive rebounders in the country in Duke Brennan. Caden Lewis has really come into his own. I think, to his own admission, the game was a little fast for him the first game versus BYU.
Which I want to go back to just real quick. That interview that he did post-game Butler, fantastic.
Well, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. The kid's been a revelation so far this entire year. But And not only necessarily with his play, but it seems like Willard's pulled him a couple times, and it seems like he's whereas instead of sulking, it seems like he's elevated his game.
Yep.
But I came into this season not expecting I expected a team that might get better. So I didn't know what to expect. I expected to lose to BYU. I thought Michigan and Wisconsin would both be better than we were. I thought Pittsburgh at home. So I thought Wisconsin was a fake away game, a fake neutral site game. Michigan was at Michigan. It felt like Willard was all right, let's get these guys some experience this year, and then next year when they come back, we'll be ready, right? And yeah, BYU was tough. Willard didn't set that part of the schedule up. We had a lot of cupcake games early on. The Big Five was down, so I did expect to be able to navigate a lot of those games and win a lot of those games. What I didn't expect was that we pretty much went belt to ass on all of those games, right? Like there was not a lot of close games against Quad Four. Even like some of our better teams over the years have had games where they're flat, come out, overlook an opponent, need to get their stuff together. Yeah, I think there was like weaker moments and halves, but like you look at the final scores of all those games, and we just kept improving our KenPom and our advanced metrics throughout. So I thought, okay, that's good. This is going about as well as you could have expected it to. Michigan game went about what, by the time we got to that game, it went about what I expected. And then, you look at the schedule and you're like, okay, well, we have hinge games here. The hinge games were, I think you had to beat Pittsburgh, but you and I talked about it when I saw you. The Wisconsin game and the Seton Hall game, as the schedule turned out, it was like, okay, these are the teams who right now we're kind of sitting in the same vicinity. And are we going to win both games? Are we going to lose both games? Or are we going to split 1-1? I think I would have been happy with a split. I think, to win both games, and candidly, like the first half of the Seton Hall game, the first half of the Wisconsin game, the second half of the Seton Hall game, I'll excuse the last few minutes of that game, you're looking at it and you're like, whoa, there is something real here. Like this team has another gear. And so I looked at that as I was the season was marching on. And after the Seton Hall game, I said, I can't imagine that Kevin Willard thought it was going to go as well as it's gone. Like, forget me, right? Like, Willard, who by fiduciary responsibility has to be optimistic about his team, right? Like, it's had to have gone better than he thinks it was going to go. DePaul was a little bit of a step back, although having watched him play now a few times, that team plays they're pretty game. I mean, the KenPom says they're not good, but I've watched them. I've watched Marquette by comparison, and DePaul is like light years more competitive than Marquette. Now that I said that, we'll lose to them on Saturday. But the Butler game really just was another eye opener. I mean, after the way we battled back against DePaul, seeing how we kind of handled ourselves in overtime versus Wisconsin, I didn't even worry, not once, about going down like 8-9 points to Butler, even at Hinkle. I was just like, okay, yeah, they're making shots, we're missing shots, like, fine. This team fights to stay connected when they're not shooting the ball well, which is like a really good sign of a well-coached team, of a team that's bought into the coach. And then that second half was,
just clinical.
Absolutely. It was crazy. Win that game by 18. I think from like the 15-minute mark in the game, I think we won the game by like 33 or something crazy like that. So it was really clinical. The team looks really good. You look at this week ahead. I don't want to get ahead. I know we got a preview, but you look at games and you're like, okay, that's winnable. That's winnable. That's winnable. And you start doing the math in your head, like, okay, where can this team go? What really is the ceiling here? And you look at it, you're like, the conference is a little bit weaker. Yeah, you got UConn. I'm not bought in on St. John's being totally.
I don't think they're terrible.
No, I'm not bought in on that. I actually think that they might have bottomed out here. And there's still a lot of athletes on that team. They're still coached by Rick Pitino. But so right now, as you sit here, we are the second best team in the conference. To your point on the chasm versus Connecticut, I looked at the difference. Like, so KenPom will tell you, oh, you're 14 spots behind Connecticut. They're 7 and we're 22 or 15 spots. But the actual math in the adjusted efficiency margin is like is like 15 points or what, I don't know, maybe, or 7, 9 points or whatever, and you have to go from us down, it's like a 30-point drop or a 30 spot drop to the team that's like that we're 9 or 10 points better than. So
we're about 8 behind, and the team that is 8 behind us, we're at 22.7. Yeah.
It's
like TCU.
It's like Washington.
Yeah.
TCU, it's like
TCU and Washington are in that range. Yep.
Yeah. So Connecticut seems to be way out there, leading the pack. But man, we're 12-2. The blemish on this team's, or the chink in this team's armor, so to speak, is that they don't have a ranked win. They don't have that like Q1A win. So and there aren't many Q1A opportunities out there.
Yep.
So like you're thinking, if you're starting to go down the list, and I do this, as everyone knows who's listened to this podcast in prior years, like I start thinking bracketology terms, and I'm like, where can this team go? I'm not seeing a path to like a really, really high seed. Can this team climb into like a protected seed, a 4, right? Potentially wind up in Philly? Yes, but
I think 4 is like the absolute max. Like,
I don't think you can go higher than that.
Yeah. Before you hopped on, I said I don't even think we'll do 4, but 4 is probably the absolute max we get to. Like, and that's with that you would have to beat UConn.
You have to beat UConn once. You gotta get UConn once,
and like you can maybe afford 2 or 3 losses the rest of the way, but like that's about it.
Yeah. So I think where this team will be, like it's hard to like adjust expectations so abruptly on the fly. I feel like this team's gonna get into like that lower ranked team thing and kind of stick there, because I think there's going to be enough wins to stack in a row throughout the season after losses that the team will wind up in like the 20th ranked team type category and be like
feeling 6 seed.
It feels like a 6 seed. Yeah, I agree. So I don't know if I even answered your question, but it's fun.
It's been a bit.
The best part about it is that they're fun to watch, right? Like you watch them go down and you're not sitting there like, ugh. Or you watch them tie the game after coming back and you're not like, how are we going to fuck this up? But it's just kind of like, it's fun to watch the program reassert itself. It's cool.
Yeah.
And the players so far seem to be likable. I mean, we're down one guy after today, but we seem to be likable. So
one thing I want to call out here is two things. One, you mentioned the Duke Brennan rebounding thing. I just wanted to go back to give you everyone the actual answers for that. Duke Brennan is 6th in the country in offensive rebound percentage. And then he is, 26th in defensive rebounding percentage in the country. So one of the top 25 rebounders in the country. That's just broad strokes.
And I still remember the Rothstein quote before this, how is this team going to grab a rebound? And everyone was like on that. How is Villanova ever going to rebound the basketball? I feel like we're pretty decent at rebounding the basketball. The one thing I wish we could do is fucking shoot free throws. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, shooting 69%. Nice from the free throw line. One thing, the thing I want to talk about with this team is just like, why are we performing over expectations? Why wouldn't have Kevin Willard thought this was going to happen? I think I have 3 reasons when I look at this roster that I'm like, oh, we're performing better than I thought we would. One is a Caden Lewis as just like the head of the snake as the point guard. A Caden Lewis, and I said this, and I think I like mean this, has been the best freshman point guard who has been given the keys flat out that we've had since Arch. Brunson wasn't given the keys flat out freshman year. So there's the caveat there. Where obviously he was sharing the backcourt with Arch. Caden has the keys, and he has been absolutely fantastic as a point guard. He's not really turning the ball over. He's like, once he caught up to the game speed, like you can see the difference between him in his first 4 games and how he's been playing since then. Even if the numbers are the same, it's how he gets there is so much more different. He has so much body control. He's incredibly crafty. We are very, very like blessed to have him on this team. There's already, I saw an Instagram post like, is he an NBA player? At some point he is. He probably needs another year. Caden just like, we'll work on the NAL package for you. Don't worry. But like he's an incredible player. He's my number one reason why we're doing better. The other two for me, it's not Bryce Lindsey. Bryce Lindsey's fantastic, but I think he's doing what I thought he would do. Matt Hodge has been like sneaky, like pretty good as like just like a stretch big, and like honestly now with especially with Caparo coming out, like playing small ball 5, he's put like lineup pressure, and it's given a lot of flexibility for Willie to do a lot of like unique 5-out things when Brendan's on the bench. And then to your point, we've been gang rebounding a little bit better. So that's one with Hodge. And then the third one is like a player that it's night and day for me since last year. It's Tyler Perkins. Tyler Perkins has gone like where I thought Tyler Perkins was like I thought he was a good glue player last year. And like he's actually, this is the perfect example. He's gone from glue guy to X factor. That's like the leap he's taken, like for us. Like I thought he was a glue guy. He has become a true X factor for this team. He's shooting better from deep. He's like better at the free throw line. He's just like been a more assertive and more offensively comfortable player this year. He's affecting the game better. He's like better usage. He's like it just across the board. What we've seen from Tyler Perkins has been really, really good. And those three, Caden being not just like, okay, like a flash in the pan here and there as a point guard, being like a very steady point guard. The Matt Hodges' consistency and the Tyler Perkins taking a genuine leap have taken us from where like we probably could have still made the tournament even if they didn't do that as like an 11 seed to now we're like, okay, where we're talking about a 4 is probably too far, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But looking at us as like a top 6 seed.
Right.
As of now.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. Perkins has really been really good so far this year. You could attribute last year to some of, I mean, candidly, a lot of last year was obviously the Eric Dixon show, but also like, and I don't say that in a bad way, but just in a very
rightfully
real way.
Yeah.
Jameer Brickus wanted to get his, Wooga Poplar, right? Like you look at it and, Perkins was kind of like
as an aside, just to talk about how wild time is, like we were talking about Wooga Poplar in the chat. I was like, wasn't that like 3 years ago? That was last year. Like
no, that was like just a couple months ago. Yeah. But you look at Perkins, it seems like he's obviously caught up and then some to game speed. Yep. He looks so much more confident out there. Looks a little bit more svelte. Looks like he got working in the gym. He just, everything about his game looks a little bit faster while also being under control. The thing that, and it's a steadying thing, and I said when left, I was like, the one guy who I definitely hope stays is Perkins. And a lot of it just had to do with like, you need a guy who's going to play who kind of just knows the school, right? Yeah. Like, so, right. Like, so I felt like having him as a mainstay was a good thing. And I like what he brought to the table last year. I think he didn't shoot the ball well. He made some mistakes. The game was a little fast for him, but like, that's all water under the bridge. The thing about a Caden Lewis, I think there's things on his offensive game that can be worked on. He's actually better handling the ball. He makes a little bit like he occasionally has like one play a game where he tries to make a home run play that is ill-advised, but like it's usually a shot. It's usually some type of shot or an alley-oop throw or something like a wild pass, and not like doing something crazy with the dribble and losing and making a live ball turnover that turns into a run out for their team. So it's usually not terribly painful.
It's usually not taking us out of our offense.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing that really for me differentiates him is his hands defensively are otherworldly. Like I'm actually struggling to think of the last guard, right? Like, you could think of guys like Hart, I guess, like Mikal Bridges, like Pascal to some degree, Booth maybe, but like you think of guys who had like really quick hands who could just like get a steal, right? Like turn the ball over, change the game on the defensive end. And when you see Lewis, and like I said this in the group text the other day, he's 6'2", he plays bigger than that. And especially with his length and his arms on the defensive end, like he gets up into guys. He like you could see him. He locks in defensively, and it's almost like give me that. Like we're getting 2 or 3 possessions in a row offensively, and you're not scoring, right? Like you're not even getting the ball. And he changes the game. I thought in the when you go, and I've said this to some people, I've said like he makes like 2 to 3, sometimes even more. In the Butler game, it was more 2 to 3 defensive plays with his hands every game that changes something about that game, whether it be they're on a run and it stops a run, or we're on a run and it continues the run. It's something. He makes a game-changing play with his hands defensively every single game, which for a freshman point guard is so impressive. In the Wisconsin game, obviously the free throws notwithstanding, but like in the Wisconsin game, as the lead was whittling down in the second half, he made one play where he got a steal, and I think he got a bucket off of it, but I forget exactly the details because it was a few weeks ago, but he got a steal and got a bucket, and we got an extra couple points. Like, and when you're seeing a lead recede because a team's just on fire and they're making all the right plays and we're missing free throws and stuff like that, those little things of like just adding a couple extra points that they have to get to catch up to you, like helps, right? Yep. And then versus Butler, I mean, he had like 3 in like a sequence of like 10 possessions that while we were making our run that totally just put Butler out of reach.
Yep.
So I love his game defensively quite a bit.
The next thing I want to hit before there's two things I want to talk about before we get into like the some of the previews. One is just like obviously the difference between Kevin and Kyle at the helm. Like John Rothstein has the Rothsteinism of Kevin Willard, more adjustments than a chiropractor, and it's true. And you can see it in game. You can see it in the play calling. I think people have probably seen it, but if you haven't, we retweeted from the Full 40 account. Hoop Herald did a really good breakdown of just like Kevin Willard's like a staggered ball screen action to get Bryce Lindsey an open shot. The plays like this, like he did a really good job of highlighting this. This happens all the time. If you watch Bryce Lindsey off ball, look at how we design plays to get him open. That's all Kevin Willard. And it's really, really impressive. So every time you're like, oh, Bryce Lindsey's so great. It's like a lot of times, which Bryce Lindsey is fantastic. Kevin Willard is designing very, very good plays to get him open and get him like off movement and shooting the ball. Kevin Willard's been, I mean, we're going to see as like he keeps growing with the program, like as we continue to like recruit, which is a question that like I don't know what the direction is. Like it seems to be like we're not really involved that much with like freshmen right now. So this just might be a transfer portal team for the future. And then like obviously hoping to retain and keep people. But this is Kevin Willard's the difference between Kevin and Kyle is quite literally the difference in like the Wisconsin game, probably the Butler game, Seton Hall game. Like,
and maybe I'd throw DePaul on there.
Yeah, and DePaul, like that is the difference. And let's just say we beat DePaul because we were still better, but like that's the difference. There are multiple games, and I think everybody listening and everybody like can agree. Like there are multiple games where like if this was the last 3 seasons, we would lose that game. Or it would be it, or we wouldn't have even like to your point earlier, Chris, when we played Duquesne, like we won by 10, Duquesne hung around, like that game would have been infinitely worse if this was in the last 3 seasons. That's a game that like the Dell State game from like two years ago, where it was like, what's going on? We're not about to lose to Dell State. And we didn't, but like it was just that level of like there. So
I mean, going into LaSalle and just beating the brakes off of them, right? Like
we won the Big
Temple.
5. yeah.
We won the Big 5, which we really started from the bottom.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, I mean it has been this is why you move on from a coach and get a new one, right? Like it is very much it's night and day. I don't think the conversation. Look, I wish Kyle Neptune well, but like the reality of the situation is that the question was never like Willard compared to Kyle Neptune. It was Willard compared to what like another theoretical coach we could have hired, right? And so, the names in the Richard Pitino. It's a slow start at Xavier, right? Like You look at
I mean, my guy Ryan Odom is doing well at Virginia, so
Ryan Odom's doing well at Virginia.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Tommy Lloyd's name had come up
yeah,
later on, but I don't think that was a really terribly real thing. So but that would be nice what he's doing.
the number one overall seed would be nice.
But but you go down the list of people that we were looking at. Mick Cronin's name had come up at one point in time, but you go down that list and it's okay, yeah, we were I think we made a good hire, right? So, and it's hard to make that judgment after 14 games, but so far, so good, right? And so
I mean, we have not been in this position after 14 games in 3 years. That's just that's full stop. We have not been 12-2 or after 14 games in 3 seasons. And it's just we are just better than we were for the last 3 years. That's just what it is. And I mean, a lot of that's owed to Kyle, or not. I keep saying Kyle Neptune, to Kevin Willard. And to your point, because once again, this was a roster that even internally we're we don't know what this is going to look like on paper. Some more bullish fans, or not bullish fans, bullish people in media were oh, this is a bad roster. It's we don't know that yet. There's a lot of talk because Devin Askew is going to be a starter. Devin Askew has been fine, and I think shout out to Kevin Willard recognizing, okay, yeah, we're not going to give you the keys. You're going to be the sixth man off the bench, and then it's not as bad. And it was a real simple fix. He has his bad moments 100%, but he's also had very good moments this season.
And going back to that interview with Caden Lewis, he specifically called him out that he's a super help. I mean, just imagine, right? A 24-year-old who's had a lot of stops in college, right? Talking to a younger guy who is trying to make it as a freshman point guard, probably has a lot of good advice to provide. Maybe some bad advice too, but it's a lot of good advice, right? So, and I will say this, just a full disclaimer. I met Devin Askew at an event several weeks ago, right before the season started. A wonderful guy. So he's he immediately became, I think this was the Caleb Daniels type where I met him personally and like him, so I can't ever talk bad about him type guy. But I thought he's been a very good six man.
Yeah, been a very good six man. So one thing I want to talk about is, before we get into kind of the breakdown, it's just what do you think is this team's bugaboo? What do we need to fix? Free throws is definitely number one.
It's honestly, it's enough of an issue.
Yeah.
That if I recall, there were already several games where we've missed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like a significant amount of free throws that if you added half of them back changes. I don't know if it changes any of the results that have played out so far this season because the 2 losses were still probably losses. All the wins were probably wins, but we're probably not in overtime versus Wisconsin.
Maybe BYU. I'm going to go look at it while you talk, but maybe BYU gets changed.
We're probably not in overtime versus Wisconsin. Yeah, I know, but it's a weird thing to say. It's always they run different plays if we're a little bit closer. There's all those things. So I'm not sure if there's a change in any of the results. We're still probably 12-2, but Ken Pom could be 14 as opposed to 21, or 15 as opposed to 21. Those things, as crazy as it sounds, matter for seeding, right? And those different qualities. So I look at it and say, we're fortunate that it hasn't bit us yet. It will bite us, and it's just a matter of time. If it doesn't change, if we don't take the 69% to 75 or whatever, which is, by the way, still not great, but a lot better. It's going to hurt us. We're going to lose. One of the most high-profile championship losses was John Calipari's Memphis team in 2008. versus Kansas where they couldn't hit the free throws. It was always their thing down the stretch.
Yep.
And I don't think this roster here is anywhere going to be in that vicinity.
They'll never
but
get
is
there.
Is it a difference between a round of 32 and a Sweet 16? Yeah, and that matters, right? Like, is it the difference between it could very well be the difference between a 5 seed and a 4 seed. And a 5 seed doesn't play in Philadelphia, a 4 seed might, right? Like that absolutely could make or break a season. So when I look at it, I mean, free throws are to me a real problem. It feels sometimes like the guys lock in later in like some of the games in the last few. It's like their focus level increases and they've hit some of the game killers. But
like in Lewis's interview, he mentioned it being a noon start and then being like tired or like being like, oh, noon start, who knows? Like it was just kind of like, or I think Willard mentioned it, kind of like the noon starts. Like you got to be ready. You just have to be ready in the very beginning of a game.
Yeah. Other like Willard definitely runs a ton of plays to get shots and stuff like that. I want to see when the ball is not going through the hoop, and this team seems to be some really hot and cold spells.
Yep.
He has run some action to try and get something downhill towards the basket, and I'd like to continue that. To me, that's like you got to find a way to manufacture some points when the ball's not going through the hoop. So that's one thing. Our guards, all of them, really kind of throw the ball up at the backboard sometimes when they're making a drive. Like every game, I feel like it happens 2 or 3 times where I'm like, that's a wild shot. Like, how'd that happen? Right. And I feel like with the way Duke rebounds the basketball, guys just like, even if it's not a perfect shot, get it on the rim, right? Like, because sometimes those do wind up in runouts. So those are some of the things that like bug me. But I mean that the positives far outweigh the negatives. I like the way the team competes defensively and just competes to stay in games.
Yeah. I want to go through just really quick before I talk about what's bothering me. Free throw percentage. So we're shooting 69% this season. I want to go over the last 10 seasons just so we know like where we're at. 2020 last season, 79.6. 23-24, 80.8. 22-23, 82%. 21-22, 83%. All of these are like first place in the country as well. Okay. 2020, 2021, 76%. So that was the Sweet 16 year. 76%.
Yep.
76%, 2019, 2020. Oh, wow. This is fun. 2018, 2019, 72%. So the Booth and it's the worst year since the Booth and Pascal year. That was 72.8. And then we're getting into 2017, which we know was like 77%. Yeah, 78% basically for 2017. 2016 was 79%. And then 2015, 2016 was 79%. So
it's not, it's I'm a CPA, so people who know that about me listening are going to laugh, but it is not an immaterial thing. It is like that is a very played out over the course of a season. That's a lot of points.
Yep.
And we've been getting to the line. It doesn't feel like we've had a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's to me, it really is a big deal. And all of those are well above, even 3 percentage points is well above where we are right now.
And I'm looking at this right now. We also don't foul people a lot. Like per game, we 22nd in the country in free throw attempts allowed. So it's like we're missing points and we're not giving them up. It's like which is probably why we win some of these games. We're not putting them on the line that often, but we have the opportunity to pull away. What I wanted to hit on before we kind of get into some of the previews is the last thing for me is, and it's probably timely with Tafara Gapara leaving the program for unidentified reasons. I think there was beginning to be some scuttlebutt about something. Like I heard there was a chance he might transfer, but like that was the best that came, and there was nothing substantiated about it. Clearly, something came up. We'll probably learn a little bit more about that. But that gets to my point of what we thought was going to be a lot of depth on the team preseason has now whittled to where, and this is what worries me, is just like I like it because we now know who our eight are, but we need to see more. So we have the six, Lindsey, Lewis, Brennan, Perkins, Hodge, Askew. Cool. Locked and loaded. I think for us to be definitely to be the 4 seed, but to like continue and be healthy throughout the season, because like once again, we're in the beginning of conference play. Come February 13th, when it's a slog, it's going to be like we're going to want to have depth. Kevin's done a pretty decent job rotating minutes, but we need to see something from Malachi Palmer. I liked the Butler game. If Malachi Palmer is more of the guy that we saw in the VCU scrimmage, I worry less and less. The game's been a little bit fast for him. The impact has kind of been hit or miss. I need to see more from Palmer. Unfortunately, Christian Jeffrey's out, I believe, for this season. So there's nothing we can have there. I liked him. I liked his minutes. He was tough defensively. Zion Stanford, I genuinely don't know what's going on there. I don't know if he's just like lingering injury or whatever's happening there. But Zion Stanford was a guy who like averaged 16 points a game at Temple.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be. I honestly thought it might be a starter, but
and so like I have 13 points, but whatever. I don't know what's going on there. I have not heard anything to say that he's like injured, but he's getting like, at least from our POV, healthy scratch DNPs. Like I don't understand what's going on there. So Zion Stanford and Malachi Palmer giving us something will be huge for us. And then it kind of comes down to like, I mean, Braden Pierce is I think doing kind of what we're expecting from him. Like give us 6 minutes of just like a rebound and two rebounds and maybe a bucket, and just like give Duke like allow us to have like a little more flexibility. That would be great. But yeah, I begin to worry about our depth now, just because it's like we're kind of just depending on, we're running an 8-man rotation right now with Palmer and Pierce being the two like end of rotation ones. Jeffrey's injury hurts. We don't know what's up with Stanford. If Stanford comes back and even turns into like a 9-point per game scorer, I probably like shut up about this a bit more, because like, but to like Willard's point during the season, he talked about Stanford being like a genuine defensive stopper for us. We have a good defense, but having another big wing stopper is going to be huge when we start to face when we face UConn and we have to deal with all of UConn's like very large wings and skilled players. Like having somebody who can do that would be really, really helpful, because as great as Lewis is, as great as Lindsey is, as great as Perkins is like a bit stockier, but like they're all smaller and slight. And so when you get that combination of size and skill, which gets to be where you get to like NBA level players, that's where we begin to like, we're going to run into some issues. Like, not for nothing, in the BYU game, Tafara Gapara played a lot on AJ Devansta because he had the size and the skill to do that. When we get to UConn, we got to deal with solo ball. When we got to deal with Braylon Mullins, we have to deal with Silas Demery. I haven't even really mentioned Caravan, who hopefully Hodge can defend. But like we need to have some of these like players. Like I would love to have, I mean, frankly, Zion Stanford and Malachi Palmer be able to like do that. So I really am hoping to see we see a leap forward from Malachi Palmer. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think Palmer, and I have no knowledge, info, anything on Stanford.
Yeah.
I am the working assumption I had been under, with no knowledge, but just kind of like, all right, he was injured to start the year, and things are going pretty good, and it's hard to see a lot of the floor when you got guys who are going, right? Like if he's coming in and it's not feeling the game out and whatever because of the injury, and it's like kind of hard to get back into a rotation that, yeah. So it's like, okay, is the answer that he's got to accept a role this year that maybe he wasn't necessarily expecting to fill? And there could be good reasons for that. Is there some underlying issue? I don't know. I am hopeful that as time goes on and the injury is further and further in the rearview mirror, that he finds his way on the floor more because to me, looking at the roster, like you almost need him to be kind of like the seventh guy, right?
Yep.
Like, and in his mind, he's probably like, I should be the second guy, the third guy, but like, all right, well then he's got to at least you got to start somewhere. So get up to 7, and we'll go from there. But the, you know, early on the season, I was like, Pierce is more of struggle than I thought he was going to have.
Mhm.
Not that I thought he was ever going to be like playing a ton of minutes or whatever. I just thought it looked quick to him, and I was surprised by that because he, played against Big Ten level guys last year, at least in practice. Very good guy, Derek Queen, right? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, he played against the guy who's tearing up the NBA right now.
Yeah, but he is
slowly coming along.
Yeah, like I'd say the last few games, it's been a little bit more shorthanded, and he's done the thing where he's gotten in there, been a big body that doesn't get totally taken advantage of, and get a few rebounds, clog up space in the lane, and like if that's his role this year, I'm comfortable with that.
Yep.
Like 6-7 minutes, it's probably going to need to increase a little bit beyond that, but like that's not bad. That's not like, and to your point, Hodge rotating into the small ball 5, etc. You got a couple different looks that Willard can throw. If Pierce can be like serviceable for 8-9 minutes a game.
Yep. Yeah, 100% agree. All right, I want to get towards Creighton game, but first we're going to stop for a small commercial break. The Bank of Saudi Arabia has given us money. Now, so I want to talk about Creighton real quick. So we have Creighton on Wednesday. Creighton, this is I don't know how I feel about Creighton because they're 9-6, but every single loss that they have, barring actually like even Seton Hall, like has been to Kansas State is the worst loss they have. And so I'm like, are they bad or did they just lose to like better quality teams? And so this is like one of those games where I like kind of like have the it's at home, thankfully. This is an opportunity for them. Once again, they lost to Seton Hall by 2 on the road. I don't even know if they went back to Omaha. They're playing us tomorrow at home. But like this is a Creighton team that lost to Gonzaga pretty badly. They lost to Baylor and Iowa State back to back in the Players era. Baylor, they played pretty decently well versus Iowa State, not as great. They got the doors blown off by Nebraska. They lost to Kansas, and then they beat like the teams that they should beat in the Big East. I just don't like. I think you look at the record at 9-6, and you're like, oh, this isn't that great of a Creighton team. And I just think they've lost to like other tournament teams. That doesn't, which in theory, yes, doesn't make them a tournament team because they've lost all those games, but they have an opportunity versus us to take a leap forward. So kind of talking through the Kansas team, or not Kansas, the Creighton team. It kind of everything kind of flows through. There's a few different players that. Well, first you're looking at like Jason Green. He's 6'8" wing. He's been averaging like pretty good numbers for them across the board. Gotta go pull those up. But Jason Green has been kind of like where everything's kind of flowing through for them. He's was more of like a big for them when he first started. He's been in the program for 3 years right now. But Jason Green is where everything flows through for the Kansas. I keep saying Kansas. Why? Creighton. And then Owen Freeman, the big man. I think the big man matchup of Freeman and Duke Brennan is going to be really, really interesting. And not just Freeman, but also Isaac Trout. Trout is a bit more of a floor spacing big man. He's 6'10", so that's somebody that like Hodge will probably end up being on. And Trout's a UVA transfer. But yeah, those are like the big three for me. Is there anything that you're kind of curious about seeing in this Creighton game, Chris?
Yeah, it is the first game that Willard's going to coach against this year, and what I mean by this, in conference and not a game where he's clearly talent-wise outmatched, versus a guy who can manufacture a win against him, where I feel like, okay, McDermott's proven himself more so than Willard has.
Yeah.
So I do think, and on top of that, they have the coach in waiting already named, so they almost have like 2 head coaches on that roster.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was at High Point, came back. But uh, this game makes, if this game was away, I'd be like, all right, this might be a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely, to your point, I am not buying into their record. I think their record tells a lie. Ken Palm tells a more appropriate story. They're about 40, 45 in Ken Palm, I think, when I checked last. I just think that they are a team that's gonna figure it out. Whether it's gonna be too little, too late for the tournament might be the case because, as we've all said, there's just not enough time. There's just not enough good teams in this conference. So in their mind, they're saying golden opportunity, Villanova at Villanova's house.
This is a quad 1 game for them. Yeah.
Right. But for us, this has got to be like, no, we're at home. We haven't actually had a great home game in a while because the DePaul game was New Year's Eve and that didn't go so well. So like Villanova's got to be like, come on, guys, we've actually been road warriors over the last month. Like,
we got to protect home court. Yeah.
Let's go take out somebody at home. And this is a good team and that'd be another good win. So I think we get the Creighton game done. Though if we don't, or if it's close again, maybe there's like a theme for the season. Are we better on the road than at home? But I think we get Creighton done, and then I think the other game is Marquette. And but I do think we go 2-0 this week. I'm really hoping that we do, because then I think that sets up us to be ranked when we play Providence and St. John's. So I'm hopeful that I really do want to carry a ranking into whenever we get to play Connecticut. Whether that happens or not is a different story, but I really want it to happen. And we're going to need to win every game until we play Connecticut to get there.
100%. So we'll move to Marquette. So where Creighton's record doesn't show necessarily that they're better than they are, Marquette is a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, it's not going well over there.
And the losses, to who they lost to objectively isn't terrible. Indiana, Maryland, Dayton, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Purdue, Georgetown, Creighton, Seton Hall, Connecticut. Like, excusable losses individually, but there's 10 of them.
Right.
There's 10 of them. They're 0-4 in Big East play. The wheels are kind of falling off. I mean, Chase Ross is still fantastic. And then I don't really love anybody else on the roster from Marquette. Like, that's just like Ben Gold has always been kind of like a thorn in like our side, and just like is a big that just kind of does enough to like be annoying. So like I'll give Ben Gold his credit. But this is a reeling Marquette team that's coming in. They have Xavier tomorrow, and then they'll play us at home. This is just kind of like, you can't lose this game. Like, this is just what it is. Like, obviously you want to go 2-0, but like this is just going to be a bad loss on the record for us if it happens.
It reeks of trap game, but it reeks of trap game. But I'm hopeful that the DePaul game, being still only a couple games in the rearview mirror, is like enough for the team to lock in. And I really do think that there might be something to being on the road. This team being on the road. Michigan game aside, even BYU, I felt like we had a good show. I thought we showed well in BYU.
Yeah.
But this team's gone on the road and just beat up teams. So which is not something you usually say about a freshman point guard led team, but neither here nor there. Like, I'm hopeful that we take care of business this week. Marquette's, I don't know what's going on there. I mean,
I don't know, recruiter transfer.
I mean, it's it's one of those things where you want to shake Shaka. Like, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because yeah, and I think he's bought himself enough goodwill with the Big East championships and whatever over the last few years that I don't think they'll move on from him or anything like
No,
that this
yeah,
year.
this is not a coaching for your job situation.
But he probably has a conversation with his AD after the season that's like, hey, don't get too comfortable. But like, like, and like, I looked at the statistics. They're like 119 in Ken Palm or something like that. They're like, at no point in the entire Ken Palm era has Villanova dropped below like 96. I'll clarify it as that Ken Palm era goes all the way to like 97, and they don't have individual game stats, so I can't see that. So I'm only looking at end of season.
Even 2011, even 2011, we weren't below 96.
Nope. You're talking about the 20, yeah, I think the 2011, 2012 team. Yeah.
My freshman year.
That was, nope. Didn't get that bad. Never that bad in the Kyle Neptune era. In fact, the first year or two of Neptune's era, it was just that we didn't have the resume. It was actually, I remember that year we were like 24th in Ken Palm. We were like the highest Ken Palm team left out of the dance or something like that, or one of them. That second year, but like never in the Neptune era have we ever been, or any of the other eras, Lapis, early J Wright, ever been sub 100, right? Like that's a really, really hard fall.
Yeah.
It's like putting into context, DePaul's hung around there for quite a few years. And you don't blame necessarily Holtman as he's trying to revive the program for being there, but like that's what Ewing drove Georgetown to when he got fired, right? So like, and one would argue that Georgetown had a lot more ties to Ewing than Marquette has to Shaka.
Yeah.
So Shaka can't just like sit on this. Like, and so I assume that there's going to be a philosophical shift over the next year towards maybe taking a transfer or two or 7.
They're favored to win 2 more games rest of the season.
Yeah, that's just like it. It's just patently unacceptable. You can't just be that bad. And so, look, absolutely, it's a road game. We're gonna be like the best team that they've faced on their home court for a bit. Like, you expect them to play up for that game. Shock has always been pretty good against us, but like this has got to be a. We got to put them away on Saturday.
Yeah. This has kind of got to be like straight up domination. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And then just to give us like a little like quick look ahead. So after Marquette, we will have, I believe it's Providence, the Johnnies, Georgetown, then UConn.
Is it
away?
Are we away?
Away Providence, home St. John's, a home Georgetown. And then at UConn.
Yeah, so I mean, Kim English is coaching for his life over there. So like, you know, and they just won an MSG versus St. John's. So
and it's at Amica, like, or sorry, I want to say the Dunk. Forget him. it's at the Dunk, at the Amp, whatever you want to call it. Like,
yeah.
That'll be tough. St. John's, once again, despite not kind of being disappointing this year, they're still a very quality team coached by Patino. I'm real excited for the Ejiofor Brennan matchup. That will end up in an elbow to somebody's head. Like, somebody will be bleeding between the two of them.
Yeah. That St. John's game, like, I don't want anyone to get too ahead of themselves because, like, it's funny. I've joked around. I've texted a few people that I know from making friends around the conference. And I'm just like, this is going back a few weeks. I was like, I'm submitting an application to be considered the second best team in the conference, which is as much a shot at St. John's as is a compliment to us. But like, can't get too far ahead of ourselves. Like, St. John's is going to be like athletic. The they have an athletic team. They're well coached, etc. Like, is it? Does Patino have the pieces of that puzzle together yet? No, but at any point in time, that switch could flip.
Yeah.
So,
which you kind of hope it does, but like maybe after that we play them and win, hopefully.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I really, 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 and this is really getting ahead of ourselves. But what do we have? 5 games before we go on the road at UConn?
I think it's 4 technically.
Is it? No, isn't it 5? Is it? No, it's 4. I think you're right. Creighton.
Well,
no, it's 5.
It's 5. Yeah, because Creighton hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, if we can go 5-0, run the record to 17-2, we'd probably be ranked at like 17 something like just for the conference to have a ranked matchup. Yeah. Like that'd be exciting. And it'd be good. It'd be really good because, I think the conference needs that. I don't think we're in the same league as them right now, but throw 5 more wins on top of it, that KenPom number can go way up. Yeah. So we'll see.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said earlier in the podcast, we have a basketball team on the main line this year. Like that's just there is a basketball team with an with an opportunity outside shot to play in Philadelphia in the NCAA tournament. Like it's been
right. Like there's nothing that's happened that prevents that yet.
Yeah.
Like, nothing, and they don't have to like wildly they have to overachieve, but they don't have to wildly overachieve to accomplish that.
And so just like the opportunity to play in Philadelphia to play at home would be like fantastic. But also when we get spurned from that, we tend to win titles. So maybe we don't, maybe we don't play in Philly.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to give a quick shout out to is I had tweeted this. We have a basketball team on the main line. We actually might have 2. Want to give a little shout out to the women's basketball team. So it was a rough loss. After that, they lost to Marquette, who is like decent this year from the women's side of things. Like they're 10-5, but overall, like Denise Dillon has the girls rolling. We're 12-3, second in the Big East behind UConn, which seems to be going to be a theme for us maybe this season. But like this team, I'm excited to see how it keeps going. Obviously, like if for anyone who isn't like familiar, last year Jasmine Basco, I think she wasn't Big East freshman of the year, but she was incredible for us as a freshman. She's here in her sophomore year. She's averaging like 17, 4 and 4. Been super, super great. Bryn McCurry's back, averaging 12 and 6 and like 4 assists. They kind of are the head of the snake for us. But freshman Kennedy Henry has been like just really, really solid for us, especially the last few games has turned it on. There's a little bit of momentum here for the women's team to also like make a tournament run. They'll have a little more work. Just like the wins haven't been as great, or I shouldn't say they haven't been as great. They beat West Virginia, but I'd say there's less opportunities for like as great as wins down the stretch besides like UConn, but we're not going to beat UConn like women. That's just not going to happen. Like it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. But obviously like we beat Creighton, and Creighton has been historically like very good. And obviously this season they're not as good, but yeah, I'm excited about the women. So there's also just like there's 2 basketball teams on the main line. Like we took a little hiatus over the last couple of years since Maddie and Lucy left, and then obviously since Jay left for the men. But there are 2 basketball teams on the main line, and that's exciting.
Fully agree.
Is there anything else, Chris, before we wrap up that you wanted to talk about? I want to give you the floor. It's been a bit since you've been here. Just anything you want to get off your chest?
No, not really. I haven't. I signed off of Twitter like 5 months ago, 6 months ago. My wife dared me that I couldn't do it. And I'm realizing now that was a really good play by her.
Yep.
Because it gave me everything that I like fuck. What the fuck you mean I can't do it? I can do it. but now if I go back on, she's right.
Yep.
But she's getting what she wants. It's a whole thing. So I'm actually having fun staying off of it. And in a weird way, it's been enjoyable to have this season play out and to just kind of be blissfully unaware of what's going on in the Twitter world. But everything's been good. Everything's been really good. We're going into my heaviest time of the year from work wise, but I got my two young kids, 4.5 and 1.5. Everyone's happy and healthy. So everything's good for me.
Fantastic to hear. Glad everyone's healthy, happy and healthy. I think to wrap, it's not even. I want to do a partial heart monitor, just like to give a little shout out right now. Shout out Colin Gillespie, man. Like we haven't done it on the podcast yet, but like Colin Gillespie, like genuinely, like, and I think everybody who's listening is maybe surprised to the level that he's playing, but not surprised that he's like carved out a role in the NBA. Like that's not surprising to anybody, but like Colin Gillespie being a genuine like 14 point per game scorer, 5 assists, like helping being a reason that like the Suns are. People thought the Suns were going to be doo-doo this year, and like Colin is a very real part of the reason that they're not. Right. Colin has now worked his way to like he's on a 2-way, or he was on a 2-way. He signed I think a 1-year deal, probably worth like $1.5 million or whatever it was. It's probably that minimum there. He's like well on his way to like a $10 to $15 million a year contract. And which is like, I just like shout out to Colin. Like he's been playing fantastic. I don't know how he's doing. I don't think they're playing today. Maybe they are, but I don't know how it's going on for him right now. They're not playing today. Okay. But yeah, just wanted to give Colin a quick shout out. I'm not going to do a full heart monitor.
Good call out.
Yeah.
I'll call out the Knicks as they got to get their fucking shit together. But,
yeah.
But other than that, I fully agree on Colin. It's amazing. And it's funny because it's like, you say something like, he's $1.5 million contract. Yeah. And the immediate thought, because professional sports contracts is like, only 1.5.
Yeah.
But just think about it from like a human being standpoint, right? Yeah. Like you're 4 years out of college, $1.5 million. Like that's unbelievable, right? Like,
yeah.
But like, he just became like the highest income earner in his class, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Right. Like, so, of his graduating class. So it's it's a very real achievement. And I mean, obviously if this next contract comes to pass with the way he's performing, then even better. So
yep. Good for CG. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Once again, everyone's lives are different right now. So we're trying to get a more consistent schedule, especially like I was talking to Chris. We're good. So there's stuff to talk about and there's not like that. So we want to be here a little bit more. I'm working to get just a consistent schedule for everybody out and going, but life is life. But really glad to be back here. At worst, you'll hear us in 2 weeks, but hopefully we'll get back next week. I'll let you all know via the twitter.com. But that's all we really got. And as always, let's march Nova. Let's go, Nova. Let's march Nova.